چون ابر به نوروز رخ لاله بشست، برخیز و به جام باده کن عزم درست. کاین سبزه که امروز تماشاگه توست، فردا همه از خاک تو برخواهد رست.
Nowruz or Eid Nowruz is the name of the new year for the Greater Iran. Greater Iran refers to the Western Asian lands that share similar cultural aspects. Many believe that tracing Nowruz ceremony itself is the best way to rediscover the integrated land of cultural Iran. Nowruz is celebrated among a vast scope of land from Chinese Turkestan and Central Asia to Anatolia and Mesopotamia, and from Caucasia to Indian Ocean shores. Countries in this vast territory, including Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, Republic of Azerbaijan, Turkey, and Iraq, established a campaign in 2009 and listed Nowruz in UNESCO World Heritage Site. A year later, the UN General Assembly recognized March the 21st as the International Day of Nowruz. Since then, India, Albania, and Macedonia have joined a group of countries that recognize Nowruz. According to the UN General Assembly resolution, Nowruz, which means the new day, is celebrated on 21st of March, the day of the vernal equinox, by more than 300 million people worldwide as the beginning of the new year. It has been celebrated for over 3,000 years. Until recently, Nowruz was prohibited in all mentioned countries except Iran, India, and Pakistan. The ceremony was viewed as opposing communist ideals in former socialist republics, seen as idolatry in Afghanistan, and illegal for anti-Kurdism policy in Turkey and Iraq. Nowadays, Nowruz is recognized in Western countries where many people have immigrated from those countries. Such fact is vouched for by the half-seen 7S table set in White House, the Iranian Nowruz Carnival in New York, and Iranian gatherings in California, Canada, and Europe. According to the Iranian mythology, Nowruz is one of the most ancient Persian celebrations, dating back to Jamshid, a mythological figure who ruled Greater Iran. For several millenniums since Cyrus the Great, Nowruz seems to have been regarded as the day new kings were officially announced and coronated. In Avesta, the holy book of Zoroastrians, it is stated, I offer my praise and invocation with my thoughts, words, deeds, and very body to you, and I offer with a complete and sacred blessing to that lofty Lord who is righteousness, and the day lords, and to the month lords, and the year lords, and to those of the seasons. The question might be asked that why the Iranians have used natural seasons and developed a calendar based on the motion of the earth around the sun. The Iranian plateau spans from latitude of 25 to 39 northern degrees, meaning that Iran is located approximately in the same distance from the equator as from the North Pole. Living in this location provides the opportunity of experiencing different seasons of the year, which is most likely the reason for special attention to natural seasons and synchronizing the years, months, and ceremonies with nature. The Avestan calendar has been well known since the Parthian Empire. Based on this calendar, 12 months and 30 days and 5 additional days called Panjeh constituted 365 days of the year, starting with the month of Farvardin. Nowruz, along with Mehregan and Sadeh, were the greatest Iranian celebrations held before Islamic era. In the Islamic era, caliphs more or less recognized Nowruz and Mehregan. Yet, some religious leaders, such as Imam Muhammad Ghazali, regarded Iranian celebrations as forbidden in their fatwas. The Safavid kings recognized Nowruz despite their strict religious dogmatism. Once Nowruz coincided with Ashura, Shia's mourning day for Imam Hussein, King Abbas the Great ordered to hold mourning ceremonies until noon and then hold royal celebrations in Nakhchivan Square in Isfahan. This feast lasted for days, and all the notable Iranian figures from both noblemen and military commanders were invited on behalf of the king to participate in the celebrations. Celebrated among various religious and ethnical groups, Nowruz is a common cultural component shared by Iranian and Persian speakers. Nowruz has for long been regarded highly by Zoroastrians as an important tradition. Zoroastrians have 6 major religious celebrations called Gahanbar, in which creation of the universe is glorified. According to Zoroastrian beliefs, Fravahar, the spirits of ancestors, would return to their families in the final days of Gahanbar. Therefore, a fire is lit on the house rooftops, a celebration which subsequently transformed into Chaharshanbe Suri, a fire festival. Many of the Nowruz traditions, such as spring cleaning, purifying the body, and renewal of clothes, originate from the belief in returning of the spirits of the deceased to home. In fact, Fravahar, or ancestors' spirits, are the first visitors to the houses. Based on this, the first month of the year is called Farvardin. Ancestors do not like to visit their children sad, gloomy, or distressed, so it is necessary to purify the body and clothes and clear the hearts from sorrow. Zoroastrians greatly celebrated the 6th day of Farvardin, called the Great Nowruz, considering it as the birthday and beginning of prophecy of Zarathustra. Nowruz celebrations conclude with the festival of Sizdabedar, the 13th day of the year. Even though 13th is regarded as an unlucky number nowadays, it was not the case back in ancient times in Iran. Rather, the 13th day of each month belonged to Tyr, god of rain. Living in an arid land, Iranian people would go to nature on the first Tyr day and perform prayers beside streams for a more fertile year. Among followers of other religions in Iran, Jews regard Passover or Pesach, held in the beginning of spring, as one of the major celebrations. Although Pesach is not the Jewish New Year, its celebrations coincide with the Iranian Nowruz. On the Pesach Eve, a table is set in a way very similar to the Nowruz table for Iranian Jews. Pesach ends with a ceremony called Garden Day, similar to Iranian Sizdah Bedar, in which people spend the whole day in nature. Iranian Muslims have regarded Nowruz equal to some Islamic religious events. It has been frequently stated that Adam was created on the first day of the spring. It is mentioned in historic writings, when an Arab conqueror invaded Sistan in southeast of Iran, a harp player went around the devastated city telling stories based on Arabs' crimes, making both the survivors and himself cry. Then he played harp singing, "Despite all the grief, there is a slight happiness in our hearts, because it is Nowruz." Nowruz is not held in the same fashion across the greater Iran. The exquisite diversity in Nowruz ritual celebration in terms of different times and places indicates the dynamic nature of this great celebration. In Afghanistan, 7-fruit table is arranged instead of the Iranian Hafsin or 7S table. Iranian Hafsin table includes 7 edible items, each starting with the letter S in Persian: apple, grass, buckthorn, sumac, garlic, vinegar, and a special Persian food called samanu. The Muslim and Zoroastrian Persians, as well as Parsis in India, set the same table. Goldfish has been recently added to the Nowruz table items. Now, in the age of globalization, people all over the world, from Eastern Asia to Southern America, from North Pole to Africa, Christians or non-Christians are involving in Christmas and January New Year culture. Even in Middle Eastern cities such as Istanbul, Damascus, and Dubai, the Christian New Year is widely visible, whereas Iranians have never given up their tradition and still celebrate Nowruz, not just a happy celebration, but also as the start point of their yearly schedule. Nowruz is the most prominent event in Persian literature. Almost all the poets from Rudaki 1100 years ago to contemporary poets have mentioned Nowruz in their poems. Among them, Omar Khayyam is important, who regarded Nowruz not only as a national holiday, but also a symbol of his joyful and hedonist philosophy.
چون لاله به نوروز قدح گیر به دست، با لاله رخی اگر تو را فرصت هست. می نوش به خرمی که این چرخ کهن، ناگاه تو را چو خاک گرداند پست.